Who gets more credit, the Beam or Mike Brown? I feel like somewhere, someplace, they're going to talk about that today. And I really am glad I'm not on that show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Eddie and KD sit down, talk about some chemistry and his unbeaten record since he went to the desert when Run It Back returns.
You have 6 games now to work through your stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like enough time. Like
enough time to do what?
To build your synergy, right? It's always a work in progress?
Yeah, I think it's always a work in progress. I mean, all these teams have been changing and guys have been in and out the lineups, and you got to find new identities. I feel like every day. I think you find different ways to play throughout the season. You got different schemes and strategies that you got to implement throughout the whole season. So that may be a part of like chemistry and, changing your team. But as far as like us being on the same page, communicating with one another, regardless of what we do, scheme, strategy-wise, as long as we got that solid, then I feel like we can handle anything. So we all on the same page. We all talk through stuff, and, we'll figure it out on the fly, I guess.
All right, I love that. And we're going to break down a little more of that. By the way, did you learn to knit during COVID, Eddie? Is that a COVID project you were wearing on your head? Talk to me.
I just wear what the stylist lays out for me. That's all.
Big time.
This man has a stylist. What is going on right here?
What is going on? I don't know. We'll talk about it. The Suns did beat the Spurs last night. Whatever, man. Of course they beat the Spurs last night. KD with 18, Booker with 27, CP3 with 22. I mean, we'll just go down the lineup there. They are 7-0, a perfect 7-0 with KD in the lineup. You seem more worried about chemistry issues, Eddie, than KD did. Are you really worried?
Yeah, I'm calling BS on what he said, by the way. Like, I actually agree with the point that other teams are dealing with the same issue, so that in a sense minimizes it. The Lakers had a bunch of additions late. The Clippers had some additions at the trade deadline, but nothing to this effect, nothing to this impact. And so I do think, yes, there is a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that because they kind of rushed him back from his injury, and they were really stressing getting back on the court, getting everybody together. And you can see Monty Williams toying with everything. The campaign didn't play last night. We're seeing a little bit more Devin Booker at point guard. They're trying to figure out exactly what they want to do. Since Kevin's been there, they're switching way more on defense. So, yeah, they're kind of speed running a lot of this stuff. So I do think there's some concern. But I also give some credence to what he's saying. Like, he would know better than me. He's in the locker room. He's at the facility. He's dealing with this stuff hands-on. So if he feels like, hey, they're going to figure it out, then I trust them. But I do think there's a little bit of worry there about like, do we have to create this continuity in 2 weeks, essentially? And they got to be ready for the playoffs. But we'll see. I mean, we're going to find out really, really soon.
It's hard for me to imagine them being worried, Chandler. I mean, with KD, I feel like there's no concern.
Yeah, I'm more of a talent guy. Like, I'll take the talent over the chemistry for this part of the season any day of the week. And like KD just said, every time he goes to dinner with Torrey Craig, they're getting to know each other better. Every shoot around, every time they stay after practice and they're working on their game or playing one-on-one or, shooting with assistant coaches, they're developing that bond and that chemistry on the team playing cards. So there's plenty of time for that. It's just the familiarity of on the court, of the concern, of the system, of, timing of everything. So that obviously there's issues. And like he said, everybody's going through that. But to me, it's their bench. I don't think their bench is deep enough. When you look across, they have to find even not even their bench, their fifth starting guy. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Torrey Craig? Is it going to be Terrence Ross? Is it going to be a Kogi? That guy, whoever it is, he's got to come up big because in a playoff series, they're going to take away something. They're going to double team KD and make Devin Booker beat you. They're going to double team Book, make KD beat you. They're going to blitz the pick and roll with CP. Every system or every format is going to be different. But a lot of times it's going to come down to whoever that fourth and fifth guy is on the floor, and he's going to have to make shots. So whoever they find should be that guy, it's going to be a critical part in their postseason run.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern for the Suns is just, do they have enough depth to compete? And when you get into the playoffs, you don't really need to go 10 deep, 11 deep, 12 deep on your bench, but to have guys, whether it's TJ Warren, Torrey Craig, is Bismack Biyombo your best big coming off the bench? Is that the guy you want to rely on? I'm curious. But when you look at their starters, yeah, I'm good with KD. You have Booker, you have CP3, you have DeAndre Ayton, and then Josh Okogie has really fit in well. He's shooting the ball solid from three. He's defending. He's playing hard. But my question with the Suns is, do they have enough depth to really compete, deeper and deeper as you go into the playoffs?
So is that the biggest flaw then? Is if we look ahead to the playoffs and what other teams are going to do in their scouting reports against this Suns team, is the lack of depth, Chandler, the biggest flaw they're going to try to exploit?
I think so, because you know what you're going to get with Kevin Durant, and you know you're going to get with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Obviously, the biggest thing for them is health, because if one of those guys go down, put a fork in them. But with these guys all healthy, yeah, it's what are the other guys going to do? It's if Cam Payne give me a 25-point game in the playoffs, can Damian Lee come in and knock down 3 big threes? It's going to be someone different every single night because of the way they've created this roster. They don't even know yet. And you can see by their rotation, you can see by their substitution patterns, it's different. The guy Wainwright went from playing a lot to not playing really at all now. And Torrey Craig and Okogie have been kind of consistently playing for them and being that 5th, 6th guy. Biombo and the big white dude, the Jock, who's going to be the first big off the bench. So I think they're kind of trying to figure it out themselves, but that's definitely the biggest flaw. But again, I'm like a big 3, big 4 guy. I'll take the Miami big 3. I'll take the Phoenix Suns big 3 with a shorter bench in the playoffs because those 3 guys are extremely dangerous.
You want to talk about Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eddie.
I was going to say, you're going to see a lot of ice forcing them to the sideline. You're going to see a lot of double teams for Devin Booker and KD. You're going to see a lot of just outright tagging the roller from the weak side. All that stuff is designed for them to throw the ball all the way across the court to Torrey Craig, to Josh Okogie, to whomever that 5th guy is. And you're going to see a lot of that guys shooting threes. The Suns are going to have to figure out how to overcome that. And those guys are going to have to knock shots down. That's just all there is to it, really, on their offense. The continuity I'm concerned about is on the defensive end and rebounding, because they give a ton of offensive rebounds. And if they see the Warriors, if they see the Clippers, they see the Lakers, all 3 of those teams are going to pound the glass and they're going to tone theirs on the threes, and that could be deadly for them. So they have issues. I don't agree that they just iron them out by just existing. You would love a little bit more time, but they have issues. But Kevin's right. Every team has issues, and it's, we're going to have to figure it out on the court.
Eddie, I'm a big believer in just letting issues solve themselves by existing. So I don't know why you just pooped all over that theory that I've lived by my whole life.